Welcome to Wednesday Flow at Home. I'm Danielle with Bhav Brigade. We are grateful for your support. We're grateful that you are making time for yourself during the pandemic, during being at home. If you are able to be at home, I am recording this in the middle of the day. You may be watching this in the morning, midday, in between teaching your children, doing your work, doing housework. Maybe it's the end of the evening for you after all of that. Whenever you are practicing is perfectly fine. We have these videos up on our YouTube channel. Please check out other videos. I know we have teachers uploading videos to YouTube, some Instagram Live, some Facebook Live, so many amazing options. Some of our teachers are offering Zoom classes, so you can find that information on our social, on Bhav Brigade on Instagram or Facebook. All of our classes are either free or donation based. If you choose to offer a donation, 100% of those donations are going to be shared throughout community organizations that are in need right now, particularly the food bank and domestic violence shelters for families who are unfortunately seeing an increase in the rise of violence in their homes when they're not able to be able to leave and have some respite from that. So I am going to get out some more announcements. We can get into our practice. Always feel free to fast forward to when we get into our practice. Since I'm practicing at home, I am benefiting from some props. Right now I'm seated on a blanket. If you have a blanket or a pillow or a towel that you want to fold up, or a couple of towels, do a little bit of gentle opening up of the hamstring. So I have a belt. You're welcome to use a scarf, a tie, a towel, right? So that's fine. I may or may not use blocks. My home practice usually includes them, so I have them here. If you have a water bottle that has a flat top that can close, so it's sturdy and supported, that might work as a block. Maybe you have a nice sturdy large book that could be useful. Props are always optional. Remember, your body is your best prop, and I will offer progressive cueing throughout our practice today, from the foundation, from the ground up to maybe having a bit of a different expression of the pose with or without props if you want to use them. All right, I am going to suggest beginning in a reclined state, a gentle constructive rest where you recline. And I will do my best to project, particularly when I'm laying on the ground or in child's pose a little bit later. So if it's in your practice that you'd rather continue to find a comfortable seat where you are, go for it. And also, word to the wise, you may or may not see my dog Keegan coming in and out of the frame. You can't see him right now, but he is on his own little mat right next to me. So the loud dog is at daycare. So every week she goes to daycare once, and I record these videos for you all. So, all right, if you want to get a little bit of core work, you might come to the middle of your mat, reach the arms out in front of you, and then really plug into the feet. Draw the lower ribs in as you start to release, maybe one vertebra at a time. Know that you can always bend the elbows and come down that way. Then once you're reclined, get the hair out of the way, bring the feet underneath the knees. Just to notice how that feels. Pull the lower ribs in so that you're elongating through your tailbone and not having a super arch in the low back. Of course, there's a natural arch there, but do what you can. Try and elongate through the spine. One palm to the belly, one palm to the heart space. Just take a couple rounds of natural breath. Breathing in between the space between the palms. And now maybe you want to walk the feet the width of the mat. Gotta watch out for the plants here. Let the knees fall into each other. So now this is truly a little bit more constructive and restorative than the knees up towards the ceiling. If you're wanting a bit of a hip opener, if you have space where you're at, rather than bringing the knees together, maybe you bring the knees wider, bring the soles of the feet together. Whatever feels best for you. Let the shoulders come away from the ears. Take a couple more rounds of natural breath wherever you are. Acknowledge the thoughts that you brought with you to your practice, and try and let them go. Take a deep breath in, and a long breath out. Maybe you take a couple of those deep breaths in through the nose and sigh it out through the mouth. And now close the mouth for your next round of exhales, but keep a little bit of space between the teeth, trying to release any tension that might naturally be there in the jaw. I've definitely noticed myself kind of gritting my teeth or clenching my jaw even though I don't intend to when I'm trying to sleep. So we're going to focus on today is being in our bodies, acknowledging the tension that is naturally there, and doing our best to let that tension go through intentional breath and movement. So maybe with each shape that I guide us into, maybe you focus in on one area that you know might feel a little bit more tense than the others in that shape. And you'll try and send your exhales, that extra energy to help release that tension. Come back to natural breath if you haven't already. Let the palms come outside the thighs if your knees are spread wide. And then bring both feet stacked underneath the knees again. This is where I'm going to reach for my strap. So maybe you have a scarf or a tie, a towel. And I will, when I am facing the camera, I will do my best to mirror you. But when I am lying kind of parallel to where you likely are, I'm going to not mirror. But when I'm facing you, so I don't confuse you as much as possible, I'll try and mirror you. So for now, as I'm cueing, I'm also doing that same side on my body, just letting you know. So pull the right knee into the chest, just having your scarf or your strap ready. Pull the right knee into the chest, maybe squeeze behind the thigh or the shin. Just notice how that feels. Maybe draw the knee in a little bit closer to the right armpit. Neck is long, shoulders drop away from the ears, tailbone pointing toward the front of your mat. And now slowly, maybe grabbing the strap, bring the strap on top of the ball of your foot. Be careful and mindful if you've got the metal end to your strap. And then slowly start to lengthen your leg up. And notice I'm going to keep a bit of a bend in my right knee. I'm going to point and flex the foot just a little bit. Maybe roll the ankle. So I'm not holding the strap tightly just yet because I want to make room for some of these ankle rotations, one direction, then maybe the other if you haven't already. Just loosening things up for the moment. And now, as you are ready, flex through the ankle, flex the feet so the toes are coming toward the torso. Gentle bend in the knee rather than locking out. Elongate through the right leg, only as is comfortable. Maybe release the elbows down toward the rib cage, as long as you're not reaching up and tensing through the neck and shoulders. So you do you, mindfully. Maybe the left knee stays bent. Maybe on an inhale you lengthen the left foot out. Maybe you bring the knee back in, just to try it out a little bit. So the shoulders come away from the ears, the base of the neck be soft. Notice what's happening along the back side of the right leg. And maybe now with control, on an inhale, maybe you lift the torso up slightly so the forehead is coming toward the right knee. Try not to strain, find your edge. No need to find the full range of motion here. Keeping the lower ribs pulled in. Exhale, mindfully release the torso and the back of the head. Release the strap. Kick it out to the side. Pull the right knee in toward the right armpit again. Maybe we take a half happy baby. So I'm going to bring my left palm to my left hip. Really deep bend through my right knee. Sole of the right foot up towards the ceiling. You can also just keep the knee pulled into the chest. And now wherever you are, take your left palm, bring it across the outside of your right knee,
Then we're gonna take a gentle twist to the right. So pull the right knee toward. This is where having a block or a folded up blanket might be nice. I haven't done this in a while. Create some space. In fact, maybe you bring it to the highest height. Stack the right foot on top of the left leg. And then maybe reach the right arm. Move this plant a little. And you can gaze comfortably up towards the ceiling. Maybe you gaze oppositely toward the left. Extending through the left arm as well. Or maybe the left palm comes to the right knee. Or maybe you gaze over the right fingertips. Plenty of options. Take a couple breaths here. Inhale, draw everything back to center, readjust. All right, so now the knees are stacked on top of the hips again. This time pull the left knee in toward the armpit. Maybe the palms come behind the left shin or the left thigh. Be mindful of where you put your strap. Got a fine line. Be ready for it over here. Now I'm going to place the strap around the ball of my left foot, just under the toes there. Keeping a deep bend in the left knee for now. Just start to point and flex the left foot a little bit. And the shoulders are nice and soft. We need to really tighten through the grip yet. Ankle roll one direction. And the other direction for good measure. And now, find your grip without reaching too much. We're going to find this comfortable sensation as you lengthen through the left leg, flex through the ankle. Toes are coming toward the torso. And then maybe you drop the elbows down. All of this is going to depend on your length of your arms, tightness of your hamstrings. So don't fight it. But try and let the shoulders come away from the ears rather than really gripping and coming forward. Maybe you keep the right knee bent. Maybe inhale, you lengthen the right leg out along your mat. Notice if you need to pull the lower ribs in more, if by elongating the right leg, that might create some strain. So find what's most comfortable for you. Feel that opening along the back of the left leg. Breathing in. Breathing out. Now maybe, optional, you start to lift the torso, reaching the forehead a little bit toward the left knee. You're moving the grip up a little bit. Try to keep those elbows in tight though. Keep the length in the left leg, but lower the torso, the back of the head to the mat. Get a little bit more length through the left leg. Bend through the left knee, release your strap. Pull the left knee in even more toward the armpit chest, stay there, or maybe you find half happy baby. So the palm comes on the outside or the inside edge of the left foot. My right palm is on my right hip to help keep that nice and relaxed. Pressed into the mat. Neck is soft. You could choose to stay here with the knee pulled in. If you'd like to find a reclined twist on the other side, bring your right palm outside your left knee and then slowly draw it over. It's up to you if you want to pull your block or a blanket underneath your left knee. Right palm can stay on the left knee. Maybe you elongate that arm, reaching the left arm out. Find a comfortable spot for your gaze. Make a room for your body. As you release any thoughts that are lingering. Couple breaths here. Mindfully come back to center. Elongate both legs for the moment. Elongate the arms along the side body. Just a baby shavasana for a moment. Notice how you feel. Take a body scan from your heels all the way up through the crown of your head. Now slowly pull the knees in, start to rock side to side. You could choose to rock to one side and come up to a seat, or maybe you build some momentum, rock up and back a couple of times, have some fun with it, and then rocking up and find your comfortable seat. Readjust the props if you need to. I don't anticipate bringing us into anything with the strap, but it's your practice if you'd like to keep that or another prop nearby. I'm gonna sit my hips up on a blanket. Now, shake off all the dog hair or cat hair or whatever you've got going on. And then close the eyes, find your comfortable seat. Acknowledge how you feel at this moment after a little bit of movement. I invite you, if it's in your practice, to set an intention that we can seal with one round of optional Om. Bring your palms to the heart space. Take a deep breath in. Sigh it out. Inhale for Om. Gently flutter the eyes open. Roll over to hands and knees just as a transition. So palms underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Tuck the toes. Keep that deep bend in the knee as you slowly, on an exhale, start to lift the hips up and back. But your knees are bent so deeply that it's a nice little shelf for your torso. And now, slowly maybe start to lengthen the legs. Just energetically reaching the heels toward the earth, keeping the hips nice up and back. Notice that you're shifting the weight to the front of your body as well without collapsing into the wrists. So try and activate through the lower arms. Turning the armpits in slightly toward your heart space. Ears can rest comfortably between the ears, looking back at your legs, maybe bending one knee at a time for a couple of moments. Some folks like to, on an inhale, shift forward into plank. So go ahead and do that if that's in your practice. Release the knees if you'd like to. Otherwise, in plank, readjust. Notice that the shoulders are on top of the palms. Try and keep the butt lifted just a little bit. Pull the lower ribs in to protect the low back. And now keeping the palms and balls of the feet where they are. Exhale, use the core, hips up and back. Downward facing dog. So in a moment, I'm going to cue us into a fancy pose that some of us call lazy dog. So it's going to be an inhale. In a moment, I'll cue us for us to shift forward through plank. So we're going to shift forward like we would come to plank, but you'll see in a moment. I'm going to demo one, and then I'll practice a couple more with you. On an inhale, watch me shift forward through plank, lowering the hips, kind of hovering, releasing the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale back into downward facing dog. All right, so I'll do a few more with you. Inhale, shift forward to lazy dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, get a little lazy. Still pull those lower ribs in, don't get too lazy. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's do one more together. Inhale to lazy dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Sigh it out. On an exhale, release the knees. Bring the feet toward each other. So bring the big toes together, hips back toward the heels. Walk the palms forward, forehead to the earth. So stay in your child's pose for a few moments. I'm going to come up for a moment because speaking while in child's pose and to project is a little difficult. So child's pose, Balasana, can be a place of rest. As we move through our flow today, you're welcome to find child's pose at any time, or a seated position,
When we move to standing, our mountain pose, our Tadasana, can be a place of rest if you feel like being still rather than finding some flow movement. Couple more breaths in child's pose. On an exhale, tuck the toes, bend the knees deeply, lift up, downward facing dog. Deep breath in, and a long breath out. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, slowly walk the feet forward to meet the hands. Half lift on your inhale. So the neck is nice and long. Shoulders come away from the ears, sternum shines forward and slightly down. Exhale, fold and find a closed chain. Either your blocks, maybe the fingertips can touch the earth, or maybe you interlace the fingers behind the neck or clasp opposite elbows. Bend the knees as deeply as needed. Upper body maybe sways a little bit. Exhale, release any bind that you might have. Inhale, press into the feet to slowly roll up, maybe one vertebra at a time. Head will be the very last thing to rise. And then finding Tadasana, our mountain pose. So again, you can still be at the front of your mat. On some of these, I will face the camera for a little bit and then I'll step back to the front to join you. So Tadasana, either energetically feel it out or look down at the feet, parallel, tailbone orients down, reaching through the fingertips, shoulders come up towards the ears, around, back and down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms down through the heart space, gentle bend in the knee, fold it forward. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, step your right foot back to your low lunge. Now the ball of your back foot, inhale, look forward to lengthen. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Either choosing to stay here, inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, release the knees just behind the hips. As you come down in one long line, turn the toes back behind you, elbows hugging tight, forehead to the earth. Inhale, from the back of the ribs, lift up, but neck is still nice and long. Elbows draw near. Turn those toenails down toward the earth. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back into kind of a baby child's pose. And then you find downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Now some of you that have been practicing with me know that oftentimes when we're coming down from our baby cobra, I'll cue us to bring our forehead down and then lift up your tabletop and then find down dog. That is a wonderful transition. As I've been practicing at home more during these weeks, I am remembering how much I like getting that bit of a baby child's pose in before. So that's why I'm cueing that, but do what works best for your body. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step the feet up towards the hands. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up whatever way is best for your body. Exhale, palms down through the heart space for the other side. Forward fold. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, step the left foot back, ball of the left foot. Inhale, look forward to lengthen the spine. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. If you'd like to find a flow, inhale, shift forward. Exhale, release the knees just behind the hips. Maybe if you'd like to find a half chaturanga, remember to point the toes back behind you. Inhale, shift forward slightly. Exhale, come a quarter or halfway down, elbows hugging tight. Inhale, press the chest forward. Maybe you lift off the kneecaps, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, roll over the toes, downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. If you try that half chaturanga transition and you notice that your shoulders were dipping down below your elbow, or you notice any pain in your low back or your shoulders,
I encourage you to do what we did earlier by bringing the knees down and coming down all the way. So take care of your body. Look forward on an inhale. Exhale, step. Maybe you hop your way to the front of your mat. Half lift on an inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up. This time, exhale, palms at the heart space and alongside the body. Take a round of breath in Tadasana. We're going to add on a little bit to our sun salutations or moon salutations if you're practicing in the evening. Inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, bend the knees, butt comes back. Look down that you can see your toes in front of your knees. So your knees kind of tracking second and third toe. Feel elongation through the spine. Maybe you lower your seat just a little bit. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, step the right foot back to your low lunge. Inhale to look forward and lengthen. This time on your next exhale, really elongate through the back of your right leg. Reach the right knee down. Either keep the toes tucked or lengthen the toenails along the mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms press, tuck the back toe, lift the right leg, step back to plank or down dog. So if you're trying to get a little bit more energy from plank, exhale, maybe you keep the knees lifted. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, coming halfway or all the way, chaturanga. Inhale, press the heart forward, whatever version you're in, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, eventually finding downward facing dog. Deep breath in. And a long breath out. Inhale. Inhale, look forward as your right foot steps up. Take as many steps as it needs. Exhale, step the left leg forward. Inhale, chair. Exhale, standing up. Take a round of breath here. Notice the energy. Notice your breath. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, bend the knees, find chair. Inhale to lengthen a little bit through the torso. Exhale, fold. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, palms press as your left leg steps back. Really lengthen through there as you inhale, look forward to lengthen through the spine as well. Exhale, release the left knee. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, palms press. Step back to either down dog or plank. And then find your flow. If you're coming into any version of chaturanga, you'll inhale, shift forward slightly. Exhale, bend the elbows, come halfway or all the way. Elbows hugging tight. Inhale, press the chest forward. Exhale. We'll eventually meet in downward facing dog, knowing that child's pose is always available to you. Bonus points that you get to pause the video if you would like. It's very rare that you get to pause the teacher in a yoga practice, but right now it's very common, so take care of yourself. On your next inhale, look forward, step the left leg forward. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Inhale to chair. Exhale, press up, finding Tadasana. Round of breath here. On your next exhale, step wide along the width of the mat. And this is where I will do my best to mirror you. Turn your right toes toward the front of your mat. Inhale, reach the arms up at shoulder height. Exhale, bend through the right knee. So you have heel to heel alignment or heel to arch, whatever feels best for you. Really pressing into the outer edge of your left foot. See that you can see your left big toe on the inside of your right big toe. There I go, your right big toe. You can probably see your left big toe too, but that would be behind you. Let the shoulders come away from the ears. And look wherever is most comfortable for your neck today.
This is Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, flip the front palm, reach up and back, reverse warrior. So try and keeping that bend in the right knee, not collapsing the left palm on the left leg, really lengthening through the torso. Deep breath in, sigh it out. Inhale, this time lengthen through the right leg as you bring the hips back in space. Keeping the legs where they are, inhale, reach the arms up, reach the right arm forward. Exhale, bring the right arm down to where it's most comfortable. Maybe inhale, gaze up at the left thumb. A block is a good place here. If you notice that your left shoulder is kind of dipping forward, might be a cue to extend and maybe bring the palm up a little bit higher on your leg. And again, gaze wherever is most comfortable for your neck tonight or today. Look down if you're not already. Use the core. Inhale. Exhale, turn both feet parallel. Inhale, release the arms, and just give yourself a break. I sometimes like to, on these pauses, just let the palms kind of, well, the whole arms. If you can just move the palms, that could be a fun TikTok dance. That's not really my MO, but just swaying the arms a little bit, giving some bend in the knee. All right. Palms at the hips. Exhale, turn your left toes toward the front of your mat, might be the back of your mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend through your left knee. Outer edge of your right foot presses in. Check your front toes, check your shoulders, and then gaze where you want to. Couple deep breaths here. Inhale, flip the front palm, reach up and back, find your reverse warrior, lengthening through the torso. Keeping the length in the torso, inhale, lengthen through the left leg. Hips come back in space a little bit. Inhale, reach the torso up, reach the left arm. Maybe you heard my hip pop. As you exhale, place your left palm down on the left leg. Inhale, maybe gaze up at the right fingertips. Maybe looking down. Making any adjustments that will help you feel supported and sustained in Trikonasana, triangle pose. This might mean keeping a micro bend in the knees, energetically feeling the thighs resist away from each other. Look down if you're not already. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, turn both feet parallel as you, with airplane arms, hinge forward, folding forward from the hips. Half lift on an inhale. So rise to the fingertips, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold it forward, shifting the weight so that the hips are closer to being in line with the ankles rather than the back edge of your mat. And then close off the chain. So I'm going to bring my palms to the outside edges of my feet. You might grab your big toes or your ankles. You might have a gentle or a deeper bend in your knees. That's okay. Couple breaths here. Maybe shake the head out. Always feels good, for me at least. If your palms have wandered away from underneath the shoulders, inhale, bring them back. As you half lift, look up. On the exhale, keep the knees bent a little bit as you bring the palms to the hip creases. Inhale, hinge up with a long spine. And then exhale, step to the front of your mat. Finding Tadasana, I'm going to find a sip of water. Teaching with asthma, not using my inhaler before class. Always a fun challenge. Okay, again, sense where you're coming into this When I'm not facing you, this is a time that I'm not mirroring you. I'm going to move with the same cueing that I provide to you. Bring the palms to the hips. Bend both knees a little bit. Start to shift the weight into the right leg. As you just bring the left heel a little bit toward the seat, just notice it's a bit of a balance pose. As you start on an inhale, shift the torso forward, so you're hinging at the hips, and then trusting yourself, find your balance. Exhale, step the left ball of the foot to the back of your mat. Maybe keep both knees bent for a moment so the hips can come forward, and then really activate as if you have your hand behind your left leg. So you're on the ball of the left knee, ball of the left foot, right knee steps on top of the right ankle, hips are forward. Inhale, arms reach. This is our crescent pose. Sometimes turning the pinkies toward each other might help open up the shoulders. Can you soften through the back of the neck? Notice how that feels, just that soft cueing. Notice if you're clenching in the jaw. Remember that with each exhale, send a little bit of extra love and energy and release to a part of the body that might feel like it needs it more than others. Inhale, lengthen through the arms. Exhale, bring the palms to frame the front foot. My blocks aren't near. This might be a good time to grab your blocks if you'd like. So I'd like for you to lengthen through your right leg. So I'm still in the ball of the left leg. So I'm not placing both feet firmly down, just the right foot. My palms are on the fingertips since I don't have my blocks with me. Maybe your palms come to the earth. So we're in kind of a version of pyramid pose, but we'll come into that expression a little bit later. Just noticing a little bit of an opening along the right back of the leg. Bring the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe you drop in just a little bit more. Look forward as you inhale, then through the right knee, reach the arms up. Let's do that a couple times. One breath, one movement. Exhale, fold, lengthen through the right leg. Inhale, find your balance, crescent pose. Exhale, fold, lengthen the right leg, right hip comes back in space. Last round, find your balance. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, fold, lengthen through the right leg. Take a round of breath here. On your inhale, just bend through the right knee. Exhale, step the left foot forward to meet the right, folding in. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up, arms reach. Exhale, palms at the heart space and alongside the hips. So now shift the weight a little bit into your left foot. First, let's bend both knees a little bit. We're going to shift the weight into your left foot. Bring the right heel up toward the right seat. As you inhale, hinge from the hips to lengthen the torso forward. Find your balance, press into your left foot to press your right ball of the foot back behind you. Keep a gentle or a deep bend in both knees for a moment. Hips come forward. And feel that you're pressing into your hand behind your right knee. Inhale, arms reach. We'll take a couple of breaths here. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale, lengthen through the fingertips. Exhale, palms frame the left foot. So you lengthen the left leg, maybe find your blocks. So the hips are back in space a little bit, shoulders away from the ears. Feel an opening along the back of the left leg, but staying on the ball of the right foot for now. Okay, we're going to find our flow, challenge our balance just a little bit, move with one breath, one movement at your pace, going slower or faster if needed. As you inhale, rebend into the left knee, arms reach up, your crescent pose. Exhale, bend down, lengthen through the left leg.
Inhale, crescent. Last round, exhale. Reach down, lengthen through the left leg. Inhale, bend the left leg, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend, lengthen the left leg. Take a round of breath here. So you inhale, bend through the left knee. Exhale, step the right foot forward to meet it, folding in. Half lift on your inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming up. Maybe a bit of an upper back bend. Exhale, palms at the heart space and alongside the body. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold it forward. Half lift on inhale. Exhale, step back to plank or down dog. Remember, you can find child's pose. I'm going to come back to plank for a flow. It's totally optional. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, coming half or all the way. Inhale, pressing the heart forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in. And a long breath out. We have one more set of a standing sequence. So if you would like to take a couple breaths in child's pose, you can pause and come back to it. Otherwise, maybe take a round of breath or so here in down dog. Notice how you feel. Notice where the breath is, where the thoughts are, rein them back in. Inhale, look forward. Exhale and 1 or more steps up the right foot next to the right thumb. And now flatten the left heel as well. So we're preparing for warrior one. So maybe you walk the right foot out just a little bit to the right. Bend deeply through the right knee. Hips are forward. Bring the palms to the hip creases. So you feel that they're facing forward. Draw the right hip back. Deeply bend into the right knee. So you inhale, lift the torso. With the palms on the hips, notice, is there a strain in the low back? Would you like to step that back foot slightly forward? Whatever feels best for you. Inhale, if you'd like to add the arms into it, lengthen. Really press into the outer edge of your left foot without collapsing into the left arch. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale. Side out. Inhale, lengthen through the arms and keep the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, palms frame the front foot. This time, do lengthen through the right leg. And now both feet are pressed into the earth. So if you need to shorten your stance, go for it. Again, this would be a good option for blocks if you have them. Maybe you're just coming halfway folded. Maybe you exhale, go a little bit deeper. Try to keep the hips neutral. Sometimes the right hip wants to come forward, or vice versa, depending on our anatomy. Maybe feel a bit of a deeper opening in this version rather than when we had the back heel lifted earlier. The neck be nice and long, nice and loose. As you inhale, rebend into the right knee. Place both palms down, step back to down dog or plank. Maybe you find a child's pose. From plank, inhale, shift forward slightly. Exhale, find your chaturanga or modification. Inhale, press the chest forward. Exhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Take a round of breath here. If you're in child's pose, either come to the front of your mat and find the other side in a moment, or you can meet us in down dog. Inhale, reach the left leg up behind you. Exhale, step the left foot up next to your left thumb. Flatten out your right foot, bending deeply through the left knee. Hips are forward. Palms come to the hip creases. Inhale, lengthen the torso. Notice if you want to readjust your stance at all, pressing into the outer edge of the right foot without collapsing into the inner arch. Maybe you inhale, reach the arms up. One more breath, lengthen through the fingertips. Exhale, fold, palms frame the left foot, lengthen the left leg back. This is where you might want to put your palms on blocks. I have my fingertips kind of tented. Notice what's happening with the hips. You need to adjust them so they're both facing forward comfortably. And you can always take a bit of a bend in your left knee. We don't want to lock out of our legs anyway. You shake the head out for a moment. This time, inhale, bend through the left knee, palms frame the left foot, step back to down dog. Exhale, find child's pose, knees lower, bring the big toes together, forehead toward the earth. You're welcome to stay here longer. Otherwise, just slowly start to walk the palms back, lift the shoulders to stack on top of the hips, shift the hips to one side, lengthen the legs out in front of you for a moment. Now, given the benefit of having blocks, I'm going to demo a supported bridge pose. Again, it's just completely optional. This is not where you want to use a water bottle for supported bridge. So I will briefly demo and then I will cue you into it. Now, if you have 2 blocks, you're welcome to stack 2 on top of each other. It's just a little more stable than 1 block and trying to come, if you are wanting some extension, I would encourage you to have 2 blocks stacked rather than 1 up like this. I'm going to demo, I've been saying gonna, I'm getting lazy. I'm going to demo with 1 block on the medium height. You can choose the low or the medium, or again, maybe 2 stacked on the low side. So, I love cork blocks for their sturdiness, but this one that is kind of a harder foam is a little bit still softer than the cork. So, I'm going to demo, and then I will cue you into it. If this is something you practiced before, go for it. Otherwise, slowly recline after I demo, because if you're reclining, maybe you can't see. Once I cue you to recline, they'll press into the feet, lift the hips, and then place the block underneath the sacrum. So it's not necessarily on the low back, more on the sacrum. So feel it a little bit on the fleshy part of your bum. So I have it on the low right now. So go ahead, and if you haven't already, go and recline the back body, bend the knees. I'm going to move my block to the medium height, just underneath the sacrum. And then be careful once you're lifted to let the chin and neck stay neutral rather than rocking from side to side. Just checking the time here. You're welcome to stay here. If you would like to find a supported version of shoulder stand, again by support I mean with the block underneath you, extend the arms, palms come down, just kind of lift the legs. So it's really more of a kind of a legs up the wall variation. Completely optional. You can reach the legs up. Know that if you have chosen to lift the legs up at any time, you can mindfully bring them down one at a time. Just stack the knees right on top of the feet again. Otherwise, you can choose to hang here for a couple breaths. I'm gonna slowly lower my feet down. You're welcome to do the same if you haven't already. And keep my hips lifted up on the block for a couple more moments. Nice restorative back bend. And then slowly press into the heels. Lift the hips a little bit, remove the block. You pull the knees into the chest, rock side to side. And then roll to one side and gently press up. I want to take us into a gentle forward fold since we did a gentle back bend. So if you'd like to place your hips up on a blanket, you're welcome to. Bend the knees. Open the knees on an exhale, wide like a gate. Bring the soles of the feet together. Maybe you have a block to support your forehead in a moment. Let the palms rest wherever it's most comfortable. Exhale, hinge forward. So we're tilting the pelvis forward, hinging at the hips. Let the shoulders come away from the ears. And then if you want to slide the feet further away from you, it becomes a little bit more gentle. If you want to stack the block in your feet, let the palms grasp the block. Bring the forehead to the block. Resting here for a few breaths. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Inhale. You're welcome to stay here longer. Otherwise, inhale, hinging up. All right, let's prop it up for Shavasana. So first, if there's any other postures you'd like to take before I guide us into Shavasana, this is your practice. If you are ready for Shavasana, since you do have, if you do have some props available, you might bring a blanket underneath the head. Maybe you roll up a blanket for underneath the knees if you have any low back strain. Or if you want both, the blanket underneath your head. If you have a couple of blocks or a little bolster, you can place one block underneath each leg. Just try it out for a moment so that your feet can still rest comfortably. Spread the feet a little wide, and then slowly just start to peel back. If you already have the blocks under your knees like I do, you might want to just bend at the elbows to come back. Readjust. Now that I'm down here, I definitely need to readjust my blanket. So again, this is your practice. If you want to find any other shapes before I guide us into Shavasana, you have time. Otherwise, let the feet splay out. Let the arms come out, palms face up. Let the thoughts of the breath go. Taking your time in Shavasana. Feel heavy but relaxed through the heels, the backs of the legs, the hips, the belly, face, the shoulders, backs of the arms. The neck is soft, no tension in the jaw, forehead is settled. It's important to take this time of stillness. After some time here in Shavasana, I will still cue us out of it to go through our closing ritual. Just a little bit of guided breath and a closing Om. Know that you can definitely take more time in Shavasana. You are welcome to stay in Shavasana longer if you'd like. Only as you are ready, start to make subtle movements of the breath and body. Maybe even keeping the eyes closed to stay at least in the stillness of the mind, even as your body adds a little bit more movement. Eventually pulling one knee in at a time to your chest, to roll over to one side, resting here for a breath or more. I'm going to
As you're ready, press into the outer palm, and with the eyes closed, use the edges of your mat as your guide to a comfortable seat. If you're in search of a little bit more grounding, I encourage you to bring the palms face down in your lap with the elbows resting under the shoulders. If you're looking for a little bit more receiving energy, maybe turn the palms face up. Shoulders stacked on top of hips. Inhale through the nose as the belly expands. The rib cage flares out softly to the top of the chest rising. Exhale, reverse that movement. Chest drops in, ribs pull in, belly pulls in toward the spine. Take a couple more rounds of this intentional breath. It's nice sometimes after letting everything go in our resting Shavasana. Take a couple moments to come back to the intentionality of our breath, honoring our body through our breath, honoring our thoughts through our breath. Inhale, bring the palms to the heart space. Sigh it out. Inhale for an optional Om. Loka, Samasta, Sukhino, Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of our own lives contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me again, for supporting Bhav, for supporting yourself by finding time for your yoga practice. You know how to reach us, looking up our information on Instagram, Facebook, now YouTube, of course, bhavbrigade.org or .com will direct you. If you have questions, reach out to us. We miss you and hope that you're doing well and feel healthy and safe and supported. We'll see you next time. Bye.